In today's nightmare, you better not plan going to any concert soon. Or worse, that you are not the one leading that concert, since you will not want to go through what our main character passed. Music, like any other type of art, requires perfection, mastery, and above all, much dedication. But what happens when everything goes hopelessly wrong? When you miss a note or forget a stanza, I guarantee you will never want to step on a stage again. This nightmare is called scene panic. And if you want to know its meaning, listen to this voice until the end. Since childhood, my brother and I has been given the values of art and music at home. Both my mother, prestigious pianist in the conservatory of my city, and my father, international cellist, have worried that my brother and I fall in love with music and dedicate our time and soul. My 15-year-old brother already gave his first solo saxophone concert. From an early age, he loved this instrument, and my father worried about what he learned and perfected. I was very young. I was only 7 years old, but I remember the concert vividly. His nerves, my father's hug, my mother's kiss, the hug I gave him before going on stage, and my mother, his performance that day. It was wonderful. The whole audience became cheering him. I remember my parents crying in excitement at seeing their son play the saxophone. And after that concert, many more came. And so until becoming today, with 23 years old, a musician highly valued in our country at such a young age. As for me, I have always been more attracted to percussion and stringed instruments. So my mother taught what she loved the most and that she mastered, the art of playing the piano. And so, at my 16 years, a year later than my brother, and after much effort, dedication, sweat, tears, and even blood, I was given the opportunity to be able to give a concert as a solo pianist in the auditorium of my city. The concert will be held in May, with the end of classes and to celebrate the arrival of summer. When I received the news, I became very nervous. First, out of fear. It was my first time in front of so many people. Second, of joy. It was my presentation to the public, and both my parents and my mother, whom I admired, would be under the stage to support me. My brother, who now lived in Vienna studying higher conservatory, will travel to see his little brother achieve one of his main goals, play in front of an audience for the first time as a soloist. A rainy February afternoon, with the leafless branches of the trees creating their own melody, my mother and I agreed to start preparing the concert in the same auditorium where I was going to play. In the last 3 weeks, I had seen my mother stressed as well as excited, writing the scores for my performance. We wanted to be something special, so she set out to create a unique work so that I can play and amaze the public. And I was waiting there, sitting in front of a huge grand piano, full with wax, which further highlighted its black color with red highlights. It was located behind the theater curtains. I already imagined the day of my performance dressed in a black suit with a matching bow tie and sitting in front of the piano while the curtains were drawn. Pure adrenaline. Hundreds of people waiting to hear me play, all familiar faces of my city, friends, teachers, neighbors, and among them, in the front row, my family. That afternoon, my mother entered the auditorium dressed in her garnet tracksuit. I knew that when my mother was in a tracksuit, so elegant that she was always, it meant that the first of many rehearsal sessions began, hard but rewarding. She arrived with a black folder under her arm, full of hundreds of partition sheets that she had to learn before the day of the concert. I had never touched such a long work, but I trusted my possibilities. My mother also trusted me. When she gave it to me, I opened it to observe it while my mother looked at me with glassy eyes, saying nothing. I put it on the piano lectern and I said, "Let's go there," to her. At that moment, my mother put her hand on my shoulder and said, "You'll do it great, honey. Cheer up. I'll be looking from below." A chill edged my body. "What do you mean below?" I asked while I turned. At that moment, I saw my mother dressed in gala with her black dress, the same one that was put on for my brother's concert. Outside, through the windows at the back of the auditorium, I saw that it was no longer raining and that the sun was shining. A sun that almost looked like summer. I went through my clothes. He was wearing a black tuxedo, white shirt and a bow tie around his neck. "Honey, calm down. You will do it great. We have rehearsed it a lot and you know it by heart. I trust you a lot. We are very proud." "But Mom, you haven't given me time to study it. You just gave it to me. I don't know." "There's no reason for you to be afraid now, honey. Both you and I know that we have been rehearsing all these months. Since February, it has not been a day without having a practice. And you've always done it great." And from my seat in front of the piano, I see how my mother runs down on the stage. That's when I perceive a murmur that comes from the other side of the curtain. And this same curtain begins to open little by little, amid applause betraying me to hundreds and hundreds of people. All familiar faces who expect me to give that long-awaited concert. And among them, in the front row, my family, my dad, my mom, and my older brother. And I, in the center of the stage, all by myself, in front of the grand piano. What a situation our main character lived in his dreams, right? And what would you feel? This nightmare can occur in a loop or repeatedly on different days, even along our lives, especially when you suffer from scene panic. It is a very common fear, and the best we can do is learn to live with it. It is a very common fear for those who give talks to the public, actors or actresses of theater, or like this case, musicians who have to perform in front of the world. It is also possible to have a similar nightmare when, in the field of studies, you face in the near future some important presentation that worries you. I hope you enjoyed while having a bad time with us, and even better yet, that you still want more. See you in the next video, and remember, when there is no more space in your dreams, nightmares will walk on your bed.